Call the Village of North Fond du Lac Board of Trustees meeting to order, Monday, February 3rd. Audience members are requested to sign in on the sheet provided at the registration table. Seeing none, we'll cover that. Roll call officers.
Horning is excused. Price?
Here.
Streeter?
Here.
Stutz?
Here.
Will?
Here. Stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Citizen participation, seeing none, we'll skip that. D, announcements. Anybody have any announcements? Randy?
I don't know if some of the members knew that Bob Hinn, former DPW director and inspector, passed away recently, like within the last couple of days. I don't know if the village does any plant or anything for the family, but if we've done that in the past. But I just wanted to make sure that I think Bob was when I moved out here 25 years ago. I think, according to Darren, he was inspector at that time, but he was the former DPW director and lived up on Broadway Street. So condolences to the family.
Yeah, I did not know that.
And the villager is out, right?
Villagers out.
Villager is out, and I liked all the write-ups everybody had, everybody running for trustee, so good luck to everybody. And nice job on the villager. President's business, library, everything.
Nothing, no.
Okay. Administrator, Nick.
Thank you. I keep talking about IT. We have 8 new PCs that were delivered to the county. We bought them through the county's IT department. So we're waiting for those to be delivered here and installed. We also have a couple PCs that need to be updated. The program needs to be updated and along with the server. Continue to work on a lot of that stuff. We also have been working with the county IT to get that fiber. We had fiber put into the building for their connection to the county through the police department. That is still in the works of getting hooked up. We're just having some issues getting everything to work out. Absentee voting is available right now for the primary, which is February, I'm sorry, can't think of the date off the top of my head. It's a Tuesday, 18th. I think it's the 18th, February 18th. February 18th is the spring primary. And then just continue we just went from accrual basis to cash basis through our accounting department. So basically, right, as of this time, we can't pay invoices anymore for 2019. That's kind of this transition time of this time of the year is always a kind of a pain for everybody involved to make sure you're coding your invoices to when you actually receive the goods for it. So now we're past that point, hopefully, and we can just code everything for 2020 from here on out. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Police Department, Darren.
Thank you. Things are really starting to pick up in the police department. I don't know if people are coming out of hibernation or just getting bored with the cold weather, but the last couple of weeks we found ourselves with a number of fairly significant investigations and incidents. So trying to keep our head above water with that. At the same time, this time of year is when the state and federal certifications and audits all come due for me. So I've been busy trying to get all of that stuff completed so that we don't end up having to pay back any grants or anything of that nature. Last week we had a squad that was out of service for a very brief time, had a screw in the tire. Thankfully, while Rob was on vacation, Brian Abbotts was able to get it in and get it fixed for us in a timely manner, so we got that back on the road pretty quickly. I want to thank Brian for helping us out with that. And I'm also working on the court audit for Lakeside Municipal Court, hoping to be wrapping that up in the next couple of weeks.
Good question. Mike, what's your status on that right now?
We've got one in field training right now, so we're technically still down that spot because that person's not on the road yet. We have one complete vacancy that we're working to hire, and that would fill all of our patrol vacancies, and then we still have the lieutenant spot, which is open. So 2 total vacancies and 1 sort of in the works.
Fire EMS, Jake.
Thank you. We're still working through the part-time people that we hired at the end of last year to get them trained and ready to go. So they'll be hopefully out working next month and thankfully, we have 3 part-time people right now that are in paramedic school that will be finishing up here in the next 2 months or so. That'll be starting to work more frequently. Like I said in my weekly report, the equipment that we bought through capital funds, I'm gonna put together a demonstration so everybody can kind of come in and see what that equipment's capable of doing with the battery-operated JAWS, the King Visions, and the adult training dummy that we just ordered for EMS. So once I get that put together, once we get a solidified date when we'll get that training dummy, I'll let you guys know, and then you can come in and see how advanced some of the stuff is that we're using now. And the final thing I have is just a reminder for everybody to be safe out on the ice. I've heard some reports that there's anywhere from 3 to 4 to 10 inches of ice throughout that whole lake. So it could possibly be a dangerous weekend out there. So I'll just remind everybody to be safe and have the proper safety equipment if you're going out there. Thanks.
Thank you. Public Works, Derek.
All right, thanks. Just some of the things I've been working on are some of the annual reports with Wisconsin Emergency Management for our chemicals that we use in the wells and at the pool. I also updated the chemical inventory and notification of hazards that's all through Wisconsin Emergency Government. Also, a week before, I was working on a new ordinance for cross-connection control. It's a new cross-connection control program and an ordinance that we'll go over later. Dave's been also helping me start to put stuff together for the PSC report, which the auditors are coming later this month, and they're the ones that help us with the PSC report. And then, been having Steve hit meters replacements pretty hard. He's been having the front office help set up, appointments for meter changes and getting a bunch of meters knocked out right now. That's it.
Thank you. Consent agenda, approve the following minutes of the following village board meeting from January 20th, and approve invoices and authorize checks to be drawn on the respective funds as indicated. General fund, $50,063.60. Library fund, $1,476.17. EMS fund, $6,911.89. Capital projects, $3,628.71. Water department, $22,542.45. Wastewater department, $82,852.04. Stormwater fund, $140.81. Community Development Authority TIF, $94,653.02 for a grand total of $262,268.69. And approve the following operator license: Mickey Brzezinski for Butcher's Block permanent, and Kenneth Brown for our store permanent. What is the board's pleasure?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as read.
I got a second?
I'll second that motion.
And a motion by Will, second by Stets to approve the consent agenda as read. Are there any questions? Mike?
I got it for page 8, just kind of curious that Van Burt electrical permit refund, I think they're a commercial.
Yep. So what happened is they
company
applied for a permit for a work over at the rail yard.
Okay.
And on the application, they put 2 Harrison Street as the address, which is the billing address, and the work they were doing was actually on the other side, and then in the township. The building was in the township, so we didn't find that out until we went to do the inspection.
Okay,
So that's why we had to refund it, because it actually wasn't our permit, it was, they just had to take the
Got
permit
it.
out through the town.
thank you.
Yep.
And Nick, for Verizon, how that zeroed out for the checks, or on page 8?
Excuse me?
For the Verizon, how that zeroed out, what? Because when I was doing the checks, it just.
Billing adjustments. That was an anomaly with some of the invoicing, the way that report printed.
Okay.
With last year and this year, so
Okay, no worries.
we had a couple of those throughout this process.
Alrighty. All right, any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Ordinances, discussion and possible action on ordinance 2020-1, ordinance revising section 8.20 of the North Carolina Municipal Code regarding private wells, second reading.
I could summarize that again, as Darren put together through the state, basically kind of cut and paste what the state recommended we put in here through our water sanitary inspection. This was something we needed to get on our in our ordinances. We discussed it last meeting. This is the second reading and looking for approval tonight.
All right. Any questions on this one? What is the board's pleasure?
I make a motion to approve ordinance 2020-01, ordinance amending 8.20 well abandonment and well operation permit.
I'll second that. So we have a motion by Price, second by Streeter to approve ordinance 2020-1. Can I get a roll call, please?
Price.
Yes.
Streeter.
Yes.
Stutz.
Yes.
Will.
Yes.
Horning is excused.
All right. Moving on to number 2, discussion and possible action on ordinance 2020-2. Ordinance creating section 12.23 of North Fond du Lac Municipal Code regarding cross connections. First reading.
Go ahead, Darren.
This ordinance is another one that was brought up during the sanitary survey that the Wisconsin DNR did last fall. It's an ordinance that requires us to do cross-connection inspections. And we typically do our inspections on residential homes when we're changing the meter. What this is gonna change is the commercial accounts, businesses and stuff like that are gonna be required to do a cross-connection inspection and then provide us with a copy of that inspection. We don't have anyone qualified to do some of the inspections on the commercial accounts with the RPZs, the different backflow valves and stuff like that. So we never had this ordinance on our books before, so part of it was writing the program that we're gonna follow and then adopting the ordinance to have on file in our ordinances.
And in this case, sorry, the 12, there was our existing ordinance, it went from 1222 to 1224, or 1225. At some point along the lines, there must have been something removed, so 1223 is a new section and creation of that.
Anybody have any questions on this?
I'd just like to put a comment in there. I mean, I know a little bit about this because I work for the prison system, and the city they hire a firm that comes out and does it for
Right.
them. And it's kind of a pain, but they do come through, and food service is a big one, ice machines are a big one, but you ever consider maybe piggybacking on the city's inspector? They have an outside vendor that does it, and
Right.
so, and then, sends us a list of things that we need to do.
Yes,
This ordinance, if you read number 3, Mike, 1223.3, it's the water utility may inspect or arrange for an inspection of property served by the public water. As an alternative, the water utility may require a person, so we do have that option.
Yeah, I just was wondering if.
And, yeah, we
And
probably
it-
haven't gotten that far yet, to be
It's
honest.
kind of they're kind of policing themselves a little bit, but.
I know what you're
I don't
saying.
like it, but it's the
Yeah.
right thing to do,
Yeah.
as a facilities manager.
And
it's,
Darren and I have discussed this, and
Okay.
in our case, we have very few of the
Yeah, we
commercial
do.
side, so it would be quite easy for us to probably just have somebody do it for us.
Yep.
Because there's not a lot of stuff to.
I agree,
track
okay,
of.
just throw my 2 cents
kind
in.
of the first stage that we'll go through is I put the program together, and I'm gonna reach out, because we can classify commercials as either high risk or low risk. And depending on whether it's high risk or low risk, it sets on how often they have to do the inspection. Like residential is every 10 years. If we have a low-risk commercial, that can be treated like residential, that can be every 10 years. If it's high risk, then it's every 2 years. So first thing is going to be reaching out to them, getting anything they have on file, and classifying them as either low risk or high risk, and then going forward from there.
Good.
Anybody else have any questions? Seeing none, this is first reading, so there's no action required. Number 3, discussion and possible action on ordinance 2020-3, an ordinance creating section 21.02 sub 11 of North Fond du Lac Municipal Code regarding mobile service facility zoning requirements. First reading.
Thank you. I could summarize this. This is a mobile service facility would be cellular tower would be another name for it, but it's more encompassing than that. In last couple of years, there's been a little bit of activity in the village with things related to this, and when Pete dug into it a little bit, there's been some state statutes recently passed down through the federal government that kind of dictate what we can and can't do with this, and basically what it comes down to is you can't enforce anything if you don't have an ordinance specifically addressing this. And secondly, your ordinance can only say what they tell you it can say. So whatever this says, he used the city of Fond du Lac along with the state statute and kind of cross-referenced them, and they're, the city of Fond du Lac went through this in the last year or two. So we're basically copying the cities. We've talked to them, and we just feel like we should have this on the books. That way we can at least use our local zoning towards these. If we don't have it on the books, we really can't do anything. However, like I said, even though we have this, what's in here and what we can do is dictated by the state statute. So this portion of it is for the zoning portion of it. Number 4 is for the special use requirements that related to that same thing. So both of these are related to the same topic. It's just, and these are Chapter 21, which is Planning Commission oversight. So the Planning Commission will see this, and there'll be a public hearing, which is a requirement of this at the next meeting. So in between now and our next meeting, the Planning Commission will meet and talk about this.
I'm gonna ask this one before, but we had the first reading before the plan commission looks at
And
this?
Pete asked me about that, because this one is very cut and paste and then very dictated, like I said. We still can make changes at the next meeting. We
Right.
talked about that. So if the Plan Commission decides they want to change some things, when we come back the next time, we would tweak it here. And then we could possibly delay it. So we did talk about that. We just kind of wanted to get the ball rolling sooner than later.
Got it.
Yep.
I have a question.
Yep.
So is this a TV antenna too?
No,
No,
it's
it's just
mobile,
the mobile.
mobile service, mobile facilities. It's more
Okay.
of the, not TV antennas.
Okay.
It's commercial type, locating of mobile service, which would
Okay.
be,
Because
you know,
it talks about residential on here though, doesn't it? Or no?
I mean, residential zoning, I mean, it applies to all zoning.
Okay.
But what dictates whether this is a
But it's just
a
like.
mobile service zoning permit wouldn't be required
Okay.
for
So
a
it's
a
cell
person.
phone, it's just cell phone.
Yeah,
Okay.
or other type of radio towers, things like that, that are more of a commercial base and that require FCC and FAA authority.
Okay.
Any other questions on this item? Seeing none, first reading, no action required. Number 4, discussion possible action on ordinance 2020-4, ordinance creating section 21.11, sub 12Y of North Fond du Lac Municipal Code regarding mobile service facility special use requirements, first reading.
Again, it's related to mobile service facility, and this is in regards to the special use requirements and process for that.
Anyone have any questions on this item? Alright, seeing none, no action required, first reading. Moving down to communications. Anybody got any communications? Unfinished business. New business. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
A motion by Price, second by Will to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? None. Thanks for coming.